The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set. Hey, welcome back. Another hot episode of the Golden Boot. It's your boy Pooh Bell. I got my man Ant Petty Murphy in the building. What's good with you, my boy?
Tired, dog. But we here, man. Everything good, man. I can't complain.
Yeah. I truly understand. I was looking, man. This weekend was last weekend. I don't know what that is. Last weekend for Dylan's games. So see that season over with, and I was looking forward to not looking forward in a way, because that's gonna sound bad. I was looking forward to be Saturdays being a little bit more free, watching football. But I ain't gonna lie, I missed the kids, man. I missed the kids. It was a good run. And just like every year, it's a point late in the season where it just clicked for them, and they started doing a lot better. They started understanding concepts and stuff. So definitely missed that. Enjoyed this weekend in football, man. Week 6 had a bunch of chaos. Week 7 had a bunch of thrillers. So definitely look forward to tonight. We might not talk much NFL because it sucked. I'm gonna be honest with you. It pretty much sucked. But like we always say, want to thank you for watching. Could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. Do us a favor, subscribe, like, share. We close. Like close. 40, 30 something away, something like that. From hitting that magical 1,000 number. So definitely looking forward to getting there. But let's go ahead and get ready to have this conversation tonight, man. Talk about this thriller, the 100. But first, what we got to do, give a shout out to our sponsor over at BetOnline. BetOnline.ag. We will be back in 1 minute. BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all your sports information, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds, lines, and player injury reports for this year's NBA and NHL playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters. This season, we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. We have everything from NBA, NFL, MLB, and NHL to golf, tennis, UFC, and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games that you can play right from your home. Head on over to betonline.ag today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use the promo code BLEAV to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. And we are back. Man, let's go ahead and talk, man. Break down. Big win this weekend, taking on the previously number 6, number 9 ranked Ole Miss Rebels. Big win, number 9. Thank you. Big win for LSU. 29-26 in overtime, walk-off fashion, one and done, man. And the last 2 times we've had overtimes in Tiger Stadium, first play we scored.
Yep.
First play we scoring. And for the storming the field. So but man, let's look at the numbers from this game. I'm trying to get everything up. Talk about this. Why does this do this? Why does this do this? Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. All right. All right, coming into this game, Jackson Dart was 24-42 for 284 yards. He had 1 touchdown, 1 interception. On the ground, Ole Miss had 180 yards rushing. That was led by Ulysses Bentley, the fourth. He had 11 carries for 107 yards and the touchdown. The 1 touchdown was that long 50-yarder. That was the first score of the game, first touchdown of the game, rather. Receiving wise, they were led by Lee. He had 9 catches for 132 yards. Trey Harris was leading the way prior to that. He had 7 catches, 102 yards, and a touchdown. But then he got banged up and didn't come back into the game. For LSU, Garrett Nussmeier was 22 of 51 for 337 yards and 3 touchdowns. He had 2 picks as well. On the ground, 24 rushes for 84 yards as a team. Durham had 12 carries for 37. Josh Williams had 9 for 34. Garrett had 2 for 16. And Caleb Jackson had 1 for -3. Through the air, Lacey led the way, 5 catches, 111 yards, 1 touchdown. Mason Taylor had 5 catches for 43 yards. Aaron Anderson had 3 catches for 81 yards and a touchdown, probably one of the biggest touchdowns of the game before, of course, the overtime. Then you had Josh Williams had 3 catches for 43. Durham had 3 catches for 11. Xavier Thomas had 2 catches for 36. And Trey Green had 1 catch for 12 yards and a touchdown. Third downs, you held Ole Miss to 50%. They were 11 of 22 on third down. You were 6 of 16 on third downs. One of the biggest things in this game, penalties. They had 12 penalties for 110 yards, while LSU had 6 penalties for 45 yards. Time of possession, they beat us in time of possession, 31 minutes and 50 seconds to 28 minutes and 10 seconds. They had 5 red zones, only came away with 3 scores there. We had 2 red zone trips and scored on both of them. So they had 2 fumbles, only lost 1. Yeah. So that's it. Looking turnovers. They had 2 turnovers. They got 3 points off their turnovers. We didn't get any. Those are the numbers, man. Initial thoughts after the game.
If that game played anywhere else, I don't think you win.
Oh, is it just me? Hold on. I can't hear.
You can hear me?
Hold on one second. Sorry about that. Go ahead. Dylan took the other AirPod. I couldn't hear.
Oh, it's all good. And I was just saying, if you play this game anywhere else, you don't win. Um, you won this game because you played in Tiger Stadium, and Tiger Stadium was the home field advantage that we've all come to know it to be in the past. It lived up to the old Tiger Stadium mystique, and you look at late in the game, you caused false start penalties, you caused them to burn timeouts, you caused a whole bunch of problems for them. I think you rattled the offensive line a little bit, and which in turn rattled Jackson Dart. And I think that's the reason, ultimately the reason why you won. LSU got outplayed in almost every aspect of this game. I mean, from the beginning of the game, the first play or what one of the first few plays that would have been an 80-yard touchdown pass, you just gets dropped. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
everything that needed to go your way went your way for the most part for you to pull out this victory. And it's one of those times where if you look at like all these analytical charts of how the game went, Ole Miss was more successful. Ole Miss had more EPA, you know what I mean, estimated points per play and all. They had more everything than us, you know what I
Right.
mean. But some reason, somehow, some way, LSU found a way to win, and that's what you gotta do sometimes. If you're trying to get to that point of being a championship team, is you gotta find ways to win football games, and that's what this team did. It's late in that game, you know, Nussmeier made hella plays. That 13 play 7 5-yard drive where he had to get multiple fourth down conversions to you know to tie the game up ultimately on that pass to Aaron Anderson. I mean, you can't ask for better quarterback play than what you saw on that drive. So I think there was a lot of positives out of this game, but ultimately I think Ole Miss was one of those was the better team, and it just LSU found a way to win. And like Aaron said, it's one of those times where it's better to be lucky than good.
Yeah. Paul's Hub said Dart always sees ghosts in Death Valley, and the ghosts are wearing number 40. Yeah,
That's
last
facts.
time he was here, it was Perk wearing number 40. Take him down and is eerily similar the pose, the standing over him with Weeks
Mhm.
this time. Looking at the stats, 6 sacks. He had
Yeah.
not been sacked that many times in his career. 6 sacks. I don't think he had been sacked that many times this season.
Kentucky sacked him 4.
Okay, like total for the total season, it was. I mean, so what was it though? Is
It
it
was like
6?
nah, because they was
Nah.
giving up like 2 sacks a game. So it
Oh,
was
okay. But yeah, he got sacked 6 times. Man, it was just this game. So my initial thoughts, of course, elated with joy, elated with joy. But then I started getting a little pissed off. And Danny had a space, and I feel bad because Aaron was saying he was enjoying himself. He was like, "Yeah, I'm finna get out of here," because I came in, I was, saying, talked about the good, then I just, kind of exploded about the bad, and I think you had a perfect analogy of like I guess the feeling and how people react to it. Do you mind? Would you mind sharing that analogy? Because it was I think it was so spot on, and a lot of people don't, just like when you said it. I think a lot of people were like, that's it. That's why.
you talking about the airplane analogy.
The airplane analogy.
All right, so imagine that you know you book a flight, you hop on your flight, and you flying from Baton Rouge to Los Angeles. All right, and flight takeoff and turbulence terrible. You know, you get sick. You got a crying baby beside you the whole time. Somebody kicking your chair. You know what I mean? It's the worst flight that you can imagine.
Mhm.
But the flight lands safely in Los Angeles. When you get off that flight, you don't say, "Oh, well, at least the flight landed safely," and forget about everything that happened while you were in the air. You know what I mean? You say, Yeah, I'm glad we landed, but damn, that was a terrible flight, bro. I don't never want to see have a flight like that again. And you talk about the in-flight experience that you had, and that's what you focus on. You don't always focus on the end result. You focus on what led up to it, and you kind of harbor more back to the experience that you had, whether it be positive or negative, but you focus on that more than you would the actual outcome of the flight.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that. So for one, I travel a lot with work, and every time I travel with work, for the most time when I talk to you, I talk about the flight. I'll say, saying good stuff. You talked about the crying baby. I've talked about crying babies. I've talked about kids on flight. I've talked about different stuff. So it's funny that you said that, and it was I understood it perfectly, and I think a lot more people in the space when you said it, they were like, okay, I get it. So I think that's what I went through, and I'm gonna wait before I talk, saying kind of break down, saying the turbulence of this game. But it was like I said, I was elated with joy. I didn't watch this game at home. I typically watch every LSU game at home, either by myself or Dylan to be with me or something like that. Because I don't like being around people when I watch the game because I know how I may react and stuff. But I went to one of the coach, another coach from Dylan's team, went over his house. He had a projector outside. We had 4 games, playing on a projector. We had some drinks and some pizza. And we watched the game, and I able to keep up with all the different games and stuff. But he was like, "Hey, you a guest? I'm gonna put the LSU game up for you." And I was like, "You ain't got to do that," but I was glad he did. Truly, watched this game, and I never felt like we were just completely out of the game. But I was like, "Yeah, this might get away if something don't change." LSU's first touchdown. When LSU got their first touchdown, I was like, okay, we're good. Because at that point we kept it close. But then we kept going down getting field goals and field goals and field goals. And I was like, all right, it's all right.
They was doing the same thing though.
Yeah. And it was I was okay with it until they would get a touchdown and we would get a field goal, or or we would have a turnover. And then it was just that was, but when we got we got the ball back on that last drive. And well, when they kicked that field goal and we got the ball back on that last drive, oddly enough, I felt comfortable because and when I say comfortable, I felt like, okay, we got a chance because I've seen us do it. Was it twice? At least, yeah, twice. South Carolina and the bowl game.
Bowl game, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, it wasn't like I think it's a wrap. It was like, okay, I think we got a chance. And as we started moving the ball, I was like, okay, we good. But I was not expecting, although like I said, I was comfortable. I wasn't expecting the outcome to be what it was, and it was a thriller. It was, I mean, it's everything you love about college football.
Yeah.
From a fan perspective, from a football fan perspective, from an LSU fan perspective,
there's a lot to clean up.
Yeah.
And I think I was kind of like you. I was after the game, I was glad we won and felt a little relief, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's hard to be, I'm not gonna say happy, but it's hard to be like
blindly
content.
optimistic.
No, it's hard to be like content with the performance that I saw. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we won, but we played like crap for a lot of that game. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Nuss, although he won the game for us, he also hurt us a lot of the game with some of his decision making and reluctance to run on some of those plays where he had a whole bunch of green in front of him that he could have scrambled for a first down or things like that. So, and at the same time, as good as the offensive line did in protecting us and not giving up any sacks, we couldn't run the ball for nothing. And part of that was because of the offensive line. I know some of it was the play call designs and things like that, but I mean, there's video breakdowns. Our guy Carter did one where you got a perfectly called run play, and if it wasn't for I'm not gonna name him, but an offensive lineman getting blown 4 yards back by a linebacker on the play, Caden Durham probably breaks it for a first down at least.
Jackson, Caleb. Oh, was that the one? I thought that was the full.
My bad, Caden Durham. My bad.
Oh, okay.
He. I said Caleb. I meant Caden. He probably breaks it for a first down at least. You know what I mean?
I thought that was. You talking about the fourth down?
Nah, this was a.
Oh no, the different one. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so like it's execution is part of the problem, bro. Both in the pass game and in the run game. You know, sometimes there's underneath routes that are open. You gotta take the layup sometime. You know what I mean? Everything ain't gotta be a big explosive splash play. But I think he did better as the game went on and just kind of taking what the defense gives him. And we saw him run once for a first down. I wish he would do that a little bit more, you know, but overall, I think he played well enough for us to win. But I don't think he played well, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So one of the things I exploded about was the elites word, because the prior week people were saying, "Oh, Nuss is elite, this elite." You know, we were saying no. We're pointing out, and I hate because when you point out, I say when you point out, I guess you can say when you point out fault. So, but when since talk about statistically, saying where things are happening or things that happen, it looks like you're nitpicking or you're just trying to be a naysayer. But I think today I said it best. He's not elite. He's a good quarterback, approaching great. But one thing I cannot say he is not, he is clutch. He's extremely clutch because he's come in late game situation and he gives you a strong fighting chance. Even against USC, he gave us a chance. Defensively, you know what I'm saying? Well, I ain't gonna say defensively. It was a lot of things in that game, that preventing us from being undefeated right now. But
he scored late in that game, you know what I mean, and gave him a lead late in the game. So I think I ain't gonna say he been bad. I just don't think he's been as good as some people want to hype him up to be. And I'm not saying that he can't get to that level by any means, because he's improving. You know, from what we saw early in the year to now, he's improving. But at the same time, I think for us to be a playoff caliber team, we got to see more of what we saw in the second half from him and less of what we saw in the first half.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that.
Pressure stupid.
Yeah.
Man, it's a Pelican shirt, bro. This ain't no Arkansas shirt, man.
Let's shift here real quick, and then I'm gonna come back to that statement you had about playoff caliber team. We questioned a little bit in the offseason with bringing in Blake Baker. I don't think anybody kind of questioned about bringing Blake Baker in, but it was the amount of money that we paid to get Blake playmaker, and hey, he's gonna have to show up early. We're gonna have to see. I think it's safe to say through 6 games, or 7 games. Is it 6 or 7? 6 games. 6 games. He's shown up. This defensive staff has shown up. We've seen vast improvements. Blake Baker's worth every penny.
Yeah, I think return on investment has been there already for sure. And not just with him, but you talk about what Braden Swinson and Savion Jones have been doing this season. You guys shout out Kevin Peoples.
Yes.
And then you talk about having freshmen come in like Amar Bro, Dominique McKinley, true freshmen come in and playing significant reps and holding their own in SEC play, high level SEC play. Tip your cap to Bo Davis, you know, and as much as he was a polarizing hire, you gotta admit our cornerbacks look better than they have in the past few years. And you gotta give a lot of credit to that to Corey Raymond. I mean, the recruiting has been picked up, you know, obviously Pickett, Phillips, and those guys, Aiden, Andy, and those guys. But on the field play, we've seen Stamps make strides. We've seen PJ Woodland come in, make plays. Isaiah Alexander was out of his mind on Saturday. He was all over the place, being a blanket in coverage, you know. So that defensive staff as a whole, I think, honestly, is one of the best in the country when you talk about top to bottom staffs on the defensive side of the ball, and it's shown in the improvement that this team has made from one year to the next. If you look at what Ole Miss did against this defense last year, it was 55 points, 600 some 700 yards.
Yeah.
600 something yards, 700 yards, something like that. And
Yeah.
I know we gave up over 400, but that's almost
at least
half of what we had.
Yeah.
It's almost half of what we gave up last year. And so you give up 26 points. It's half of what you gave up last year to this team. So I think defensively you can't ask for anything else right now than what you're getting. You hope that they keep improving and as the season goes on. The next probably real big test is gonna be Alabama, but you do got a couple games in between that's gonna keep you on your toes. And with Arkansas quarterback hurt, bro.
No. Is it Alabama big test? We're gonna get there. We'll
Offensively,
talk about it. Yeah, we're gonna talk. I know we're gonna talk about it.
I'm talking about the offensively. I'm not talking about as a whole team. I'm talking about offensively. Your next big test offensively is gonna be Alabama.
Yeah. Completely agree. I said last night in space. Daniel tried to kind of pick at me a little bit about, Corey Raymond. And I'll say that I've said it before, but I'll definitely say again, what he's been able to help produce on the field. Tip of the cap to him. I also had to step back, give him grace for some of the down years, because like we said, we give players the benefit of the doubt for having to change coordinators and coaches every year. We also got to give Corey Raymond, because he's falling under the tutelage of several different DCs in that time frame, which is hard to do when you've got to change the way you teach to match a scheme so many times every year. So like I said, definitely got to give him grace for that, and major kudos, tip of the cap for everything he's done so far this season. Peoples, Bo Davis. I know a lot of people are excited about Bo Davis coming back. Texas fans were saying it's going to take him a while to develop players and stuff. What he's been able to do with the injuries, with the quote unquote lack of depth, what he's been able to do in this short amount of time, because we're not getting gashed up the middle. I know we've had some runs break up the middle, but that's a lot of linebackers taking it wrong.
That's more on run fits than it is on the D line.
Yeah. And then Peoples, you mentioned him, and Peoples isn't getting he didn't. I don't feel like he gets enough of the credit because people, think D-line, they think Bo Davis. With Peoples, what he's been able to do with those edge rushers, Swinson, off one side, who's coming off the other side, Golly, Savion. Those guys have looked night and day. Looked amazing. So it's definitely big shout out to them. Coming off a bye week, having that time to get your linebackers right, because this was the first big test without Pert. Your leader, in the linebacker room on the defense, and being able to come in and have the production you did from Greg Penn, from Whit Weeks, it's outstanding. Outstanding. So
18 tackles is outrageous. That's linebacker play we ain't seen since Devin White.
Yeah. The biggest one, I think the biggest play in the game,
sack?
in my opinion. No, not even that one. After almost getting thrown out for targeting.
Oh yeah.
You come back and you get a strip to give your offense the ball back to at least put some kind of points on the board before the end of the half.
Mm-hmm.
Still basically stole a possession, and that's a 10-point swing in my opinion, because Ole Miss they weren't necessarily driving on you just dominant, but they were moving the ball. So that's at least in my opinion a 10-point swing, at least a 6-point, but that's a 10-point swing where you get the ball, you put some points up. So but after seeing this game and something you just mentioned, if we want to be a playoff caliber team, so let me ask you this: what else do you need to see for LSU to be considered a playoff caliber team?
Consistency. You can't have first halves like you had against Ole Miss on the road at A&M. You know what I mean? Or on the road at Florida. You can't do that, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger Stadium saved you this weekend, but it ain't always gonna be there to save you.
All right. Especially if you get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, you may have to win. You may have to win the SEC championship to make the playoffs.
You got to make it to the SEC championship first.
I know. You're absolutely right. I'm just, So
I mean, it's possible, but you got like that A&M game is gonna be crazy. You can't get down to A&M 10, 14 points. That ain't happening, bro. Now that that environment is gonna be, it's gonna be hard to make a comeback like we did against Ole Miss versus a team like A&M on the road.
Yeah. Due to the or because of the game that was had, LSU had 3 SEC players of the week. Braden Swinson got defensive lineman of the week. Whit Weeks got defensive player of the week, and Garrett Nussmeier got offensive player of the week. A lot of people.
It's been a slow week for the SEC.
Yeah, a lot of people are kind of. It's a little bit, they're like, hey, because of the win and the way they won, a lot of people are saying that, he completely deserved it. He was amazing, blah blah blah. My cousin just sent me a picture, say I look like my daddy from the show. Thank you, Didi. A lot of people are saying that, he was terrible, shouldn't have got it. This goes back.
I ain't gonna say terrible, but I'm just saying.
This goes back to a conversation we had on HBCU Owl when player had a phenomenal game, but was on the losing side. And we're saying, why, should players get, and so I think when you look at the overall of what happened this weekend, who else do you give it to on offense?
That's my thing. It's a slow week for the SEC. I mean, maybe Diego from Vandy, I mean,
Yeah,
but
I mean, yeah. He
Luther
wasn't.
Burden or something, you know what I mean? Like they destroyed
Yeah,
UMass. But I mean, I just feel like he threw for less than 50% completion percentage. He was bad for half the game or more. I ain't mad at it. I just feel like you typically don't see that type of stuff, bro.
right, right. Um, completely agree. When I first saw it, I was like, he got it. Um, I'm not gonna bash the kid for doing it, for getting it.
Now I saw somebody say Buddy had a Heisman moment.
Let's stop. Please stop. That's what drives me nuts. And I'm gonna tell you know what? I want to let's talk about that. I'm gonna tell you why it drives me so mad. And it's crazy to say this. LSU fans who are saying this stuff about Heisman
Like the dude
moment.
wasn't an LSU fan.
Oh well. Okay. I know who you're talking about now. But I've seen LSU fans say it and stuff. Uh, these football fanatics, especially LSU fans, seem to be very they've got amnesia because a lot of stuff that Garrett is doing that we're complaining or that we're critiquing is not even half the stuff that Jaden did, and they crucified him. Yet Garrett is getting the pass and stuff. And I will say this: one thing I said, we have to stop comparing Jaden to Joe. And I said at the beginning of the season, we should not compare Garrett to Jaden because it's not fair. But we also can't be so hypocritical to say everything he's doing, we don't see any of the faults and stuff like that. It's not, I don't know. It sounds asinine.
Aaron said, I can understand Heisman moment, but it wasn't a Heisman game. If you only looked at highlights and the end of the game, I could see why someone would say that. But to me, in order for you to have a Heisman moment, you got to be in the race for the Heisman. Otherwise, you just had a hell of a performance. You know what I mean? Like, and that was for Nuss. That was a hell of a that was a hell of a drive, hell of a throw in overtime. But to vault you into Heisman moment territory, you need to be like in the Heisman running for the Heisman, and not just being a quarterback on a team, a good team.
Dog, Jets Bills are playing. They just showed where Aaron Rodgers threw a Hail Mary when he was at Green Bay over Detroit. And then they showed he did it again over the Giants. He literally just threw another Hail Mary. They ruled a touchdown. They reviewing it now because they were laying on the ground and they stripped the ball out. But like he just have thrown his third like Hail Mary. That's crazy. But
Well, it actually would have been his fourth because you remember the fail Mary.
that wasn't him. That was
I thought that was him. That was
no.
Seahawks.
The Russell Wilson threw the Hail Mary because the Seahawks won. It was against Green Bay.
I thought Aaron Rodgers threw it and the Seahawks picked it off. They said they picked it off.
No, it was Green. Yeah. Russell Wilson threw it. They caught it because I used to hate that. I hated Russell Wilson for that game for the longest. But anyway, yeah. But yeah, that's that. Anything else, man, on the LSU game before we get ready to get up out of here?
Nah.
Yeah. Paul Sub says Nuts pulled off some vintage Tom Brady wizardry at the end of the game, if we're being honest. That's know what?
And he did it without his number 2 receiver. And
Without his
CJ
number 2, no. Or number 3, technically. I mean, if you want to
He ain't had that boy all year. I'm not finna say.
No,
he
I was talking about.
got
I was talking about what you call it. I guess technically you consider Aaron Anderson, but
I mean, yeah, he did it without CJ
Kyle
Daniels.
Parker. Yeah, CJ.
Kyle Parker ain't number. Nah, he ain't number 3.
Yeah. You know what? Let's talk about that. Texas beats OU. Dominates OU. But Ewers is very rusty because Danny says, and Quinn Ewers has 67 completion rate and won his game decidedly. How was he not offensive player of the week in the SEC? Well, Danny, he was not good. If you watch that game, he was not good.
He had less than 200 yards passing and 1 touchdown. Like
they won that game round.
Yeah, that ain't player of the week status.
Yeah. But man, Texas dominated Oklahoma to the tune of 34-3, if I'm not mistaken. I like your nerves. You know what?
Yeah, it was 34-3.
Yeah, all right. I don't even know what to even say about that game other than they won convincingly. Oklahoma, I do want to say something about that because a lot of people are throwing Oklahoma out, saying Oklahoma's just not a good team. Now, while there are parts of that I agree with, their 2 losses right now are Tennessee and Texas.
They have no offense, bro.
I completely agree with it.
They can't score. They can't beat. You can't beat nobody if you can't score, bro. I mean, if you look at their wins, like the Auburn game, they shouldn't have won that game.
They scored. If I'm not mistaken, they scored on pick 6 too. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. They scored like 20 points that game on offense. Other than that, they haven't really beat anybody in the SEC. They beat Tulane, Houston, and Temple. I mean, and that was early in the season with Jackson Arnold at quarterback. Now that they switched quarterbacks, they really don't look like they have an offense. So I mean, as good as their defense can be with Stutzman and some of them guys on their defense, like you got to be able to put points on the board. They did their job early in the game versus Texas, but you just can't ask the defense to be out there all game and expect them to be worth something.
Yeah. Precious says, keep my nephew in y'all prayers. Yeah, Derek Williams out for the season. I think that says surgery on the shoulder. I can't remember. But yeah. He's having season-ending surgery. So yeah, keep him in your prayers. But yeah, I don't know. I watched the game. It got boring quick.
I didn't even watch because I knew it was gonna be a blowout.
It was 3-0 for a long time, Oklahoma, and then Texas scored and the floodgates open. It was 0-0 for a long time, and then Texas scored, then the floodgates open. But one game that I did enjoy, unfortunately, it made me have my only loss on the week in my picks. Oregon takes down Ohio State 32-31.
Hell of a game.
Amazing game. What a play. I say play. What a strategic move by Dan Lanning, intentionally putting 12 men on the field to run time off the clock.
Sacrifice 5 yards for 4 seconds. I mean, I've seen that done before, but not in a moment that big. You know what I mean? I've seen it done in, kind of meaningless games or whatever. But yeah, that was a hell of a game, man. I think it kind of went pretty much how I expected it to go. I expected Will Howard to have to throw the ball and win the game, and he threw the ball and he did. He threw it well, but ultimately they just came up a little bit short. But
That was they lost. I mean, I know you can't base every, saying the games off of one play, but he lost. They lost on situational awareness.
yes and no. I mean, it's easy to blame it on the kid. You know what I mean in that situation, but I I don't know, man. I don't like the play calls they had laid down the stretch anyway. So I mean, I don't like the fact they went away from the run game that was working early on in the game. There's a lot of things that Ohio State did in that game that really didn't make sense to me. But no, hats off to Oregon though. I mean, they had both their receivers, Johnson and Evan Stewart. They had crazy good games and they torched that Ohio State secondary. That a lot of people thought was the best in the country. Evan Stewart looked like what we thought he would be coming out of high school, the 5-star prospect, and he looked every bit of it against Ohio State. And Dylan Gabriel looked like he did last year in the Red River shootout game versus Texas. I mean, he played some of his best football in these big time matchups, and we saw it again versus Ohio State. But the real question to me is, and Daniel, I give Daniel credit. He was the first to really question it, but Ryan Day in big games, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
and I want to see how this Penn State game go in a few weeks, because I think Penn State better than a lot of people think they are too.
Speaking of Penn State with an epic comeback to get the win in overtime. They were down 20-6 at halftime to USC.
Lincoln Riley is 5-8 in his last 13 games.
LSU fans wanted him as head coach. I'm an LSU fan.
I'm just saying, he in year 3, BK in year 3. Who would you rather have? You know what I mean? Like, I think it's time to start asking some questions about Lincoln Riley, bro. Cause yeah, that is a hell of a good quote too. But it's a hell of a good quote. But
Yeah,
I think Lincoln Riley got issues, bro. Cause I don't know if he got the right quarterback to run his offense in Miller Moss. Cause Miller Moss ain't really mobile. And if you look at all the guys who've been successful under Lincoln Riley, they've all had a little bit of mobility to them. So do we see the kid from UNLV,
a little bit.
Jordan Maiva, that he athletic, he can run, but I don't know, man. They went from being Big Ten champion contenders and playoff contenders to shit. I'll probably eliminated from the playoffs now with their third loss. So I don't know, man. And they owe him too much money to buy him out at the end of the season, so they kind of stuck with him. So I don't know where you go if you USC.
Yeah. Talk about USC. I want to flip it. I want to talk about Penn State. That play that they ran
To the tight
with
end,
the tight end, I'll just say this: Athens Youth Football might run that play next year.
hey, cuz that's
That it was sick. It was sick,
but
and
that goes to the show that new offensive coordinator they got from Kansas, bro.
yeah.
Like if you go look up Drew Allard numbers, his pass numbers for this game.
Mm-hmm.
And then go look at the receptions for the wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Craziest stat
Talking about in the game.
just in this game right here.
Okay, hold on.
Don't count the tight end. Don't count the tight end. Just tell me receivers and the
Okay.
catches that they had.
All right. So why? So he's in this game. He was 30 or 43 for 391 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks.
Don't read the first name. Just read me everybody else.
Oh wow. Harrison Wallace III had 3 catches for 53 yards. Nicholas Singleton had 4 catches for 39 yards and 1 touchdown. Julian Fleming had 2 catches for 33 yards. Liam Clifford had 3 catches for 26 yards. Omari Evans had 1 catch for 16 yards. And Katron Allen had 1 catch for 9 yards. Wow. So, wow. That's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He had 6 guys that he distributed 176 yards to. And then the tight end had 224 by himself. Jeez.
Nobody else had over 4 catches.
Jeez. No,
Yeah, tight end had what, 14?
17.
17? Yes, I knew something like that. So you want to talk about one dude beating you, bro? That's the definition of one dude beating you.
Wow.
And Andrew said they'd be playoff contenders if they was in the Pac-12. If they didn't blow up the Pac-12.
Oregon was still over there.
Bingo. You ain't beating Oregon this year of USC, dog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shit, they might not beat Utah the way how he nut up against Utah.
I don't know.
Utah, they beat them. They beat them last year without Cam Rising.
Yeah, but Utah ain't Utah this year, man.
That's true too. That's very true. Next game, man. Next one. This was another thriller, man. The third thriller. Tennessee wins in overtime. Escapes
what I told you last week
over Florida.
I told you last week. I told you I had a feeling Florida was gonna keep this thing close, man. Tennessee overhyped to me, man. Tennessee is overhyped to me, bro. They got honestly, their defense might be better than their offense.
So shout out to the big homie, the family, our Tennessee fan, Alan A.B. Bell. He says, and he named several coaches, NFL and college, who have the same. He said he think have the same issue. Said every year, Hypo gets to a point where he gets scared and becomes extremely conservative. He hit it really early this season.
I mean,
he's saying you can't put it all on Nico.
I'm not putting it on Nico. I'm not
saying you are.
I'm putting some of it on that offensive line.
Oh yeah, that's true too.
That's been terrible.
Grass ain't greener.
No comment. I ain't calling out nobody specifically, but the offensive line.
Grass ain't greener.
I ain't calling nobody.
I know you're not. I'm just saying grass ain't greener. If you know, you know.
But yeah, they haven't been good, man. So
I guess NCAA is wrong, and I think it's well, then again, it still may happen. But DJ Lagway is gonna have to play out the rest of the season. Unfortunately, Graham Mertz was lost. He's out for the season with a torn ACL. I don't know about old Lagway.
Lagway looked good though when he came in that game. I mean, he let him down for a game time touchdown. So I mean, he didn't look bad, and I mean he made some freshman mistakes, obviously, but he looked pretty good though. His athleticism is crazy. He's gonna be a problem in the future.
All right. 9-17, 98 yards. He had 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Montreal Johnson for Florida had 12 carries, 85 yards. He pretty much carried the most of the load for them.
Dennis said Tennessee defense suspect. Florida offense has been pretty stagnant for staying in the game. Tennessee defense is one of the
Uh,
best in the country.
Florida played somebody else and moved the ball and scored. Texas A&M. Texas A&M
Yeah,
defense is really good. They
yeah.
put up 20. I know it, albeit some of it was late, but they put up, if I'm not mistaken, 20. What was it? 20.
Florida,
20.
Florida
They put up
offense,
20 on them.
Florida offense ain't been that bad now. I mean,
No.
they've had moments where it hadn't been good, but I mean, this game they didn't put up a whole bunch of points. What was it, 17 points?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and they scored the last touchdown with like 30 seconds left in the game or something. It ain't like they just was dominating. They scored early. They went out to a 10-point lead. They scored in the first quarter, and then didn't score again until the third quarter.
She
And then
says
they
Arkansas
scored.
game. They hadn't played Arkansas.
Then they scored with 30 seconds left in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's saying the Tennessee defense against
Oh,
Arkansas.
Tennessee.
Arkansas
Tennessee.
only scored 19 points and won that game.
Yeah. They won that one 1914. Something that I did see or they mentioned on the broadcast, and it's probably changed now. Tennessee is top 10 in offense, total offense, total offense, total defense, scoring offense, scoring defense. That may have
Maybe
changed
not,
by
it
now.
ain't scoring offense no more. I can tell you that.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot
Man,
of that was inflated.
their defense good though.
They had a 69-3 win over Chattanooga and a 69-3 over Chattanooga, a 51-10 over NC State, 71-0 over Kent State. They put up 25 on Oklahoma, and then 14 against Arkansas, and then 23 against Florida. So it might still be
Tennessee
it might,
defense number 2 in total defense.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm saying they struggles these last few weeks has been because of the offense.
Yeah, it is. It is. Speaking of struggle, Dylan, come on, because I know you probably want to get in on this. Alabama took on South Carolina and completely struggled. Watch the end of this game. But that's a game South Carolina more lost than Alabama won.
I mean,
situational awareness again.
Alabama did have to make the comeback though.
Oh, yeah, they did. No. I'm not taking that, trying to take that away from them. But situational awareness, they still had South Carolina twice with opportunities to either take the lead or to tie it up and stuff. So,
but they couldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this was a situation where Alabama was one of them cases where they're like, all right, we coming home. Ain't no way we finna get beat twice in a row. You know what I mean? I think they overlooked South Carolina. But obviously South Carolina a pretty good team. Their defensive line is one of the best in the country. Their running game is pretty good, but Alabama had some stupid mistakes early in their game too. The safety for one, you know what I mean? Like Milroe interception early in the game. I think he threw 2, but I know for a fact he threw 1 early in the game. But it just seemed like they was kind of like out of sorts. And then they woke up in the second half, and especially late in the fourth quarter, and they kind of turned it on then. And I think that when they turned it on, South Carolina had already felt like they had the game won, so to speak, and they kind of started playing not to lose instead of playing to win. And they kind of got conservative, took their foot off the gas instead of doing what was working for them. But I don't know. I think South Carolina better than we thought, and Alabama may not be as good as we thought, but I still think Alabama is better than they showed against South Carolina.
Yeah. It's not a talent issue. This is discipline. This is I'm not gonna even say coaching. This is discipline and respect. I think that's what they're not playing together. So that's where the issue lies. I told somebody before, although, and I've said it many times, I think Kane Womack is a good coach, and I think he can coach at this level defensively. The problem is I don't think a lot of players or people respect what he's done or what he, where he's at Alabama. So I think that's part of the issue. They're not believing in him.
Yeah. I think the defense is partly a talent issue. Not necessarily that they don't got the talent, but I think they're young on their back end and their secondary. So it's a lot of coverage bust and young freshman mistakes and stuff like that. But I think the scheme hurts them a lot too. I think Kane Womack is a little too predictable in his scheme sometimes. And that we saw Vanderbilt take advantage of it, and I think South Carolina did to an extent early in the game too. And I think in that second half he made some adjustments, which is why we saw them kind of have more success in the second half defensively. But at the same time, I don't know if they're gonna be able to get away with falling down. For what was it, 14? No, they weren't down that much in this game.
They were
only
up.
down.
They was on down
Like
5.
19 to 14,
19-14.
I think. Yeah. But so it ain't necessarily that they had to come back, from a large deficit, but like the little lulls that they have in their games, you know what I mean? Where they kind of sleepwalk for a little while, then decide to turn it on I don't know if you could do that against some of these better teams.
Yeah.
It almost hurt them against Georgia. You know what I mean? That second half, they kind of sleepwalk through it. And if it wasn't for Ryan Williams making a crazy play, they lose their game, so.
Yeah. He hasn't, I'm not going to say Ryan Williams has disappeared, but he's definitely, I guess it's crazy. It's by his standard. I think people are starting to pick up on him a lot more, or trying to scheme against him, double him, and giving him a little bit more respect, and it's making it harder for him to make since some of the plays he was making before. He's still producing. He's still a problem on that team, but
I mean, I think it was unrealistic to expect him to play at that level for the entire season, but
yeah,
he's still a weapon that can break the game open at any time.
Yeah. Agreed. I don't know. They got Tennessee this weekend. I know we're gonna do our predictions and stuff, so we ain't gotta talk about it. But that's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be an interesting game to watch. Next up, man. I gotta give credit when credit is due. Kansas State survives Colorado, but Colorado is a lot better than I've given them credit for.
They did that without Travis Hunter and Jimmy Horn. If they had one of them here, I think they beat Kansas State.
Yeah, Kansas State also was stupid in the at the end of the game and almost gave that game away.
Yeah. For sure.
What is going on? I don't know what's going on my TV. Them all moving in slow motion. Like I said, kudos to Colorado for what they've been able to do. I'm gonna end up. I'm probably like they're gonna cost me lunch. I'm gonna have to buy lunch. Kansas State, man. I can't figure out the Big 12. Iowa State is still rolling, they're still moving, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Iowa State might be the best team in the Big 12.
Yeah. Group of 5, man. It's getting real interesting.
Is it though?
It is, man. It is. Because there's several teams that if they went out, they or if they went out or somebody lose, they could possibly find themselves in the playoffs. First off, man, shout out to the salute to the service academies. Both being 6-0, Navy and doing it, they're doing it in different ways, but Navy still, primarily a run, run first oriented team, but scoring the ball a lot more, throwing the ball a lot more. Then you got Army coming in, completely balanced, slanging that thing, throwing that peel around. Both of them could end up finding themselves in a winner-take-all playoff berth and everything come to Commanders Cup.
But see, the only problem with that is the Commanders Cup is after the playoff selection committee. Yes, it is. We already talked about this in Spaces. The Commanders Cup is December 14th.
Oh yeah, because they moved it up. Yeah, that's true.
And see, I read an article. Somebody shared an article that said the playoff collection committee ain't even gonna consider Army and Navy.
Dang. But looking at other group of 5s from this past weekend. Excuse me. I got a sneeze that's stuck. What was the other group of 5s? UNLV got back to their winning ways. Boise State got the win over Hawaii 28-7. That dude Jeanty is just. We're gonna talk about him in a minute, but trying to think who was some other group of 5 schools that had ULM got there. Another win. Only loss again is to number 1 Texas.
Yep. We looking at our schedule like we could beat everybody that's on that mug, bro, including Auburn. What's up?
Yeah, I can see it.
So if we win out and we 11-1 with a win over Power 5 Auburn, you got to put us in the mix, dog.
Yeah,
but I ain't thinking that far ahead though. I'm not thinking that far ahead.
Yeah. Like I said, UNLV, Boise both won. Both the service academy, well, 2 of the service academies. North Texas is 5-1. Louisiana, Lafayette is 5-1. Yeah. So that's why it's getting interesting because Syracuse not group of 5, baby.
I thought you said 5-4.
He said, "Oh, y'all coming or not?" What we talking about? Oh, I don't know which game you talking about. Austin. I don't know which one you talking about. I gotta figure out. To the vet. Oh,
this weekend. I don't know, man. I want to, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it, bro.
I hit you up offline, Austin. Tell you about that.
I work this weekend.
I want to. I'll be watching. I'll be watching definitely, but by Bama. Okay, go ahead. What you got about Bama?
Bama's just lucky they won against South Carolina because it could have been South Carolina could have easily won if the QB just didn't panic. Because it's like mental mistake. Coach, one of my coaches said that like when we weren't doing something right, when we false started on when it was supposed to be on 2, he said it's you can be stupid. That's something you can't fix, but you don't be lazy.
That's true. That's true. See, you learning. Good job. Good job.
And there was he had a lot of time to think, didn't he?
He did. He did panic in that last interception.
Yeah, butted through that mud. Butted through that mud to the stands.
Hey, Coach Trey watched. Coach Trey said, he said, "Hello, I love you, deal." So,
but yeah, they said if you need somebody to overthrow the government, just get Lenore Sellers to do it.
oh my goodness.
I some reason I couldn't hear that.
Okay. He said they say if you need to overthrow the government, get Lenore Sellers to do it. So we talked about, mentioned Jeanty earlier. Clear favorite for the Heisman?
Gotta be. With Travis Hunter getting hurt last game and what Jeanty did, I mean, he gotta be the favorite, bro. He on pace to break Barry Sanders' rushing record.
Yeah. I'm trying to get back to the
that's ridiculous, bro.
Yeah. Do you know he has a bet with his old lineman. If he doesn't get 2,000 yards, he's got to cut his locks. He's at 1248. He's got 126 carries for 1,248 yards, 17 touchdowns. He's averaging 9.9 yards per carry.
So if you look at the Mountain West rushing leaders, the Mountain West rushing leaders is Ashton Jeanty, and in second place is Ashton Jeanty after contact.
Wow.
But now right now he on pace to break Barry Sanders' rushing record, single season rushing record. Barry Sanders had 2,628 yards on 344 carries. Ashton Jeanty is on pace for 294 carries, 2,912 yards, and 38 touchdowns. Almost 3,000 yards rushing, bro.
That's crazy.
And he would have been on pace for 3,000 if he would have played the second half versus Sacramento State and I think it was Portland State, maybe or somebody else like that. Like he only played one half in 2 of the games.
Yeah, Portland State. Well, it was probably Georgia Southern. No, because that was a 9-point game.
No, it was one of the
Oregon,
FCS.
Portland State. Only that Portland State's on the FCS. They put Portland State, Washington State, maybe. Utah State. Utah State.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay. Yeah, so
Doc said Barry did that when they didn't count bowl game stats.
Yeah.
This Ashton Jeanty on pace for regular season stats.
That's in 12 games.
In 12 games, he on pace.
He'll break it because the championship game, conference championship, and bowl game in there is as long as he's healthy, he'll break the record.
I ain't gonna count that.
I know you not. I know you not, but
what's gonna make me mad is if he in the end of the last game he like 20 yards short and y'all didn't play him in the second half in these other games when he could have had another 100 yards or whatever.
That's like when Fournette, the year Fournette was battling Derrick Henry, the McNeese game got voided. Because of the weather. They did not the hurricane. Yeah, no, it was a lightning storm.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
The lightning storm they canceled. They pulled them early in the Auburn game. They pulled them early in the Syracuse game. There was another game where they pulled them early. Les Miles. He would have broke all kind. He would have hit 2,000 easy. Yeah. He ran for 250 in 3 games. Again, it was like Auburn, Syracuse. I can't remember the other team. Tell me he wasn't gonna do that against McNeese. But yeah. Any other notable games?
When you say notable, what you mean?
Games we didn't talk about. Any other games that
Vanderbilt?
Oh, Vanderbilt, Kentucky. We didn't talk about that. Vanderbilt, Kentucky was a good one. Vanderkey rolling, man.
I'm gonna say this. I might sound a little crazy when I say this. After
crazy.
I haven't even said it. After these last 2 games, I'm gonna say this. Vanderbilt might be a playoff contender.
That's not. I mean, so Vanderbilt is
4-2.
4-2. They could. I mean, they can. I don't know about playoffs because they have to win the SEC to get it. But Vandy could find themselves in a playoff. In the SEC championship battle. I mean, they have Texas. If they lose to Texas, that's another loss. But that's only one in the. No, shoot, they lost
2 in the SEC.
2 in the SEC. Never mind.
They out, bro.
Yeah, they'll be out.
I mean, they've.
Hold on. Who else? So Georgia has one loss.
So us, Texas, and Texas A&M have 0 losses.
Listen.
Georgia has 1 loss. Arkansas has 1 loss. Vanderbilt has 1 loss. Alabama has 1 loss. Tennessee has 1 loss, and Missouri has 1 loss. They need a lot to go their way for them to be in the SEC title race. Besides them beating Texas and beating LSU and beating Tennessee and South Carolina and Auburn, you know what I mean? Like, they got to beat all them teams, and then they need Texas A&M to get 2 losses. They need LSU to get 2 losses. They need Georgia to get another loss. They need Alabama to get another loss. So it's like,
I have something for that. I think Vanderbilt can beat Texas because.
Yeah, you sound crazy now.
No. Listen, when Alabama was number 1 ranked, Vanderbilt beat them.
I get that, but it's a little different.
Plus, we still have how many weeks until that game?
2.
2 weeks.
We can then.
No, 3 weeks.
No, it's
2. It's 2. I'm tripping. I'm looking at the date wrong. It's 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. So
Texas can lose in those 2 weeks, or can lose next week.
I'm gonna see who Texas play because you're saying that. I don't think that
Texas got Georgia this weekend.
Yeah, they could lose it. I mean, you know what?
They could lose this week.
So if Texas, I'm just gonna say like this, deal. If Texas lose this weekend, they're not losing to Vanderbilt next weekend. They're not gonna lose 2 in a row.
No, I think that
can happen and most likely it happen.
Yeah,
it's different.
No,
it's more likely.
Vanderbilt has won 2 weeks in a row. If they win next week, they're in a 3 streak.
Yeah, but listen, like, so Texas, when Vanderbilt beat Alabama, the week before that, Alabama had played Georgia in a real close game and barely won. Then the next week they lost to Vanderbilt. So what you need to happen is you need Texas to barely beat Georgia in a real close game, and then the next week Texas lose to Vanderbilt.
I was gonna say something, but I actually forgot.
He late in the process. But any other notable games though?
Nah, not really. That I could think of off the top of my head.
No, because I think we talked about all the group of 5 and everything. Arizona State 5-1, beating Utah.
Yeah. Cam Rising done for the season.
That's another thing. He's eligible for an 8th year.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, come on.
Crazy.
Come on.
No.
I mean, yeah. Do you take that? Burn one scholarship?
Might as well. You ain't got no NFL career if you Cam Rising.
Mm-hmm. Pitt Cal, that was another came down to the end. Pitt been skating. Yeah, Pitt skating by. They've been skating by. That Illinois Purdue game in overtime, 49-50.
Almost cost me some money, man.
I have a question.
What's your question, babe?
Didn't last year Alabama after they play LSU beat another team?
Yeah, they won some games.
Did they only have one loss?
No, they lost to Tennessee. No. I take that back. They lost to Texas last year, and then they went to the SEC championship and then the playoffs.
So one loss in the regular or no?
Yeah, one loss in the regular season.
Did they play Texas?
They lost to Texas. They didn't play Texas again.
No, did they play? Did they lose to Texas? After LSU game?
No, it was before. It was week 2.
I was gonna say that they're won to LSU, but they didn't.
Yeah, no, they. Yeah, so I think that's it on that. NFL. Yesterday was the best game to me. Lamar versus Jaden. Very, very entertaining. All that talent, man. All that talent on the field. And to see Washington, if Washington can get, a little bit more star power on defense, they'll be all right. If they can get better, or get, I guess you can say, I ain't gonna say adjusted to the scheme, but get more familiar with the scheme on defense. What Quinn trying to run.
Pretty sure the score was 33-40.
I can't remember what it was. It was a touchdown game. I think it was 30-23. What was another game? Oh, Detroit and Dallas. Dallas got blew out the water. Unfortunately, Aiden Hutchinson was lost in that game. Leg whipped, tackled. Leg whipped around, hit his teammates and broke. So
yeah, it was ugly.
It was ugly. Chiefs didn't play, baby. What's your boy? Harbaugh, bro. Got sick. Had to go into the blue tent. So he had I forget what they call it. It's something with your heart, like a irregular beat or something. And he went into the tent, heart flutter or something. But they said it's the second time this has happened to him in his career. So it happened to him. Happened to him when he was at Michigan, I'm guessing. No, 2012. He was at San Francisco. Yeah. So. Saints scored. Scored. Saints. That game was great. So Tampa Bay scored 24 unanswered. Saints scored 24 unanswered. Tampa Bay came back and scored another 27 unanswered.
Terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy stiff arm.
All right. Doc, I see you. Doc said horns down. By Jerry and McCarthy. He ain't getting rid of McCarthy. He can't afford to pay him. He can pay to everybody else. You have to pay that man not to do no work. He ain't finna do that. Yeah. Man, that's all I got, man. Major League Baseball, Dodgers lost today to the Mets 7-3. Tied at 1. Going back to New York. Hold on, dear. I'm trying to let me pull this up so I can. Yankees are up 5-2 on the Guardians. Going into the 9th of Game 1. So
I want to update on JJ McCarthy injury.
You go ahead. Tell us what's the update?
I wanted one.
Oh, I thought you were saying you want to do it. Okay.
I still can't believe that stiff arm.
Oh, Monday Night Football. We got
Bills Jets.
Bills Jets tied at 20.
Just had a crazy stiff arm.
Trying to see. Joe Burrow almost cost me some money last night. Him too. But they won 17-7. I had him over 2.5 rush attempts. That's all I needed. He ran the first drive. He ran twice. One including a long 47-yard touchdown. He didn't run again the rest of the game, but kneel downs counts as runs. So that's the only way that cash for me. Yeah, that's it, man. That's all I got. I'm trying to see NBA preseason going on.
Nah, I ain't talking basketball right now, bro. It's football.
Yeah. Hockey.
I'm not talking. No.
I know you not. I'm just mentioning it because the people want to hear. They like to hear us talking about hockey.
Who like to hear us talk about hockey?
Our fans, man. People they love to hear us talk about hockey. The Utah Hockey Club is 3-1 on the season. They just lost their first game tonight to the New Jersey Devils, who are 4-1 themselves.
I'm a fan, and I don't like when we talk about hockey.
You're not even supposed to be here. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna tell you too. And he said, "Y'all got any guests tonight?" I said, "Yeah, you." He said, "What you talking about?"
I'm the co-host.
I'm the third co-host. Everybody know that.
Literally. Right now.
Why don't you go to your desk and your computer and talk on your microphone?
I don't have one.
Then you ain't no co-host. All right. Let me get the theme music ready.
Call me your co-host.
That was tongue in cheek. All right. The co-hosts, real ones, will be back on Sunday. Wednesday. We'll be back on Wednesday. We gotta get the predictions and stuff. We already got the games picked out too. Gonna be interesting. Dude, get out, go, bye. Let people bye.
No, you said I was in the COVID side.
All right, and let me find the button. Let's get up out of here. Like that.
This show is presented by betonline.ag. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on Twitter at Golden Boot. On Instagram at Golden Boot. On YouTube at The Golden Boot Pod. On Facebook at The Golden Boot Pod.
Golden Boot!